Now then, Moeen, welcome.
Thank you.
I was going to lift your microphone up a little bit there.
Thank you very much.
There we got you. Welcome to Test Match Special. I know you were here yesterday as well, but it's your full, proper lunchtime grilling. They're a friendly lot, our listeners. They're gentle.
No, they're very good. They're always good.
You'll be all right.
No.
Actually, I tell you what, it's going to be my question to start. Because Michael Vaughan, when I was on with him, was telling me about your 13-year-old nephew, who's playing for Warwickshire second 11. That seems incredible.
Yeah, he's. I think this week he's gonna play. Left-hand batsman, quite tall. Very, very good player. Like, he's started amazingly well in his very short career so far. But he's very confident, quietly confident. Plays good shots. There's just something about him and the way he plays and his character where you're thinking he's going to play. He will play.
What's his name?
Isaac Mohammed.
Right.
His brother also plays Worcestershire second team. He's about 16, 17. He's on the academy there. They're both on the academies. One's at Warwickshire, one's at Worcester. So yeah, looking good.
And I mean, he can stand up to men. He's playing in men's club cricket, presumably.
Yeah, he's playing men's club cricket. He's played all the age groups at Warwickshire. Done really well. He just looked very comfortable, and from an early age he was training at good speed on the machine, sidearm, at my dad's academy, and he's good. There's just something about him. Yeah, everyone's raving about him.
13.
Yeah,
that does seem amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Extraordinary. Good. Well, good luck to him. We'll be following him now. Into other questions. And Usman Khan, how does it feel to have hugely inspired people from ethnic backgrounds that they too could represent their country? And I'll link that with Haroon too. It's fantastic to have Mo in the box. A very positive role model for the British, Pakistani and Muslim community. And I will move on to his, but who were the toughest players you batted a bowler against? We'll come on to that in a second. But that first one about I mean, do you feel representing such a large proportion of the country?
I think initially when I set out and I got picked for England, I never thought about these things at all. I've obviously, like everybody else, just thinking about playing for England, doing well, trying to establish myself as a cricketer. And then as time goes on, people feel like you are their role model, or it was almost put on me a little bit, to be honest with you, where you're representing a certain types of people, etc. And then you kind of just learn to live with it, and you try and be your best. And end of the day, it's for me the first and most important thing was to perform on the field for England.
Of course, yeah.
And do well for the team, and still think about my own career. And then the other things just came with it, really, and that sort of responsibility, where what people have put on you, then it is a bit of a burden, and it's quite a heavy burden, but you kind of learn to live with it, and you know how to deal with it.
Yes. Does it frustrate you? I mean, Leicestershire is my county, and I still live down there. Does it frustrate you that there is such, I don't know, it's a barrier or a brick wall, that Leicestershire does not have anything like the number of Asian players playing for that county as there should be, looking at the population? I mean, and then there's Yorkshire. I mean, does that frustrate you? And have you got any solution at all?
It does frustrate you a little bit, because there are good players out there, and I think regardless if they're Asian or from a different background, if they practice of faith or they don't, whatever, I don't think these things should come into it, but it is frustrating, and I think it's a bit of both, to be honest with you. I think the system, which is changing, and with time it will change more, but also as I can only talk from an Asian sort of background, is we also have our own internal issues and things that we also need to develop as people, and going forward.
What sort of things?
So just things like, and this is from my own experience, being a bit more disciplined to be a professional sports person, learning to be more punctual, and these are just things from my own opinion and my own experiences where we kind of lack, and we need to learn these things as we go along. But yeah, it is frustrating because there are some very good players, and I'll give you an example. Worcester have just signed a guy called Kashif Ali, who's 23. He's been around training. He's played a little bit in the leagues abroad. done very well this year in domestic cricket, second team with a high strike rate in T20. Like you can just see this guy, and nobody was signing him, and I'm like, why are we not signing this guy? And the guys, and the answers you get are, he's 23. Why would somebody else have not signed him yet? These kind of things, and those kind of answers are quite frustrating because just sign the guy. I mean, he's a good player. Why would you not sign him and stuff like that? So that's frustrating. That just seems to take a lot more time than it should.
Yes. Because signing someone like that who then becomes successful, is unlocking that.
Yeah.
It's unlocking the door, isn't it? Which needs to be done.
Of course, and that's the frustrating bit, because there are good players out there for sure.
Yes. Well, let's have the second bit of Haroon's question. Who are the toughest players that you've batted against and bowled against so far? So it's a fairly standard question, but come on, you've played against some great players, haven't you? Bowled and batted.
Yeah, many players I've played against. Bowlers in particular were. I actually find this is for a different reason. Nathan Lyon was quite difficult for me, and I know he got me out a lot in Australia, but it was more of a mental thing he had over me. Right. And when you have an Ashes, such a big series or a 5-match series against the opposition, what makes Test cricket so good is when he's on top of you, or if you're on top of somebody, that kind of brings in when either I came into bat, he just came straight on. And that is the difficult thing about Test cricket, and that's what people don't realise.
No respite.
There's no, exactly right, and that is where it's really hard. And that was a real tough period for me, because I didn't feel like he was getting me out because he was bowling Jaffers or, it was he could have bowled underarm. And he'd probably get me out. And it actually felt like that. Yeah. Just mentally.
How do you get rid of that? How do you get rid of that in your mind? How can you dispel that?
The way I got rid of it is I got dropped, and then I didn't play again, which was probably the best way, because it happened in Australia. I came to England, played at Edgbaston, he got me out twice.
Yes.
It just felt so relentless. And the funny thing is, actually before that, 2015, we played here. He didn't get me out once, and I actually hit him for a few runs. He just had it over me, and more than anything, mentally he was all over me.
Was it anything to do with the fact that he was an off spinner as well? Because you hate getting out. I mean, off spinners hate getting out to off spinners.
Not so much, no, because you obviously don't want to get out to the opposition spinner and stuff. But he's a very good off spinner, and there was. When I faced him before, he bowled beautiful shape on the ball. It was quite nicely accurate. But then when I faced him again in Australia 2017, he bowled the same thing but quicker. And I found that this guy is actually a very, very good bowler. His stock ball is really good, particularly to left-handers. So he was one. Quick bowlers, I would say. There's obviously quite a lot of quick bowlers out there. Mitchell Starc is quite nasty to face, because he's got a real heavy ball. Even though you feel you can score because he goes full and tries to swing it, he's quite nasty. But the hardest is Pat Cummins.
Really?
Yeah, because he runs in just relentless at that length. Doesn't do a lot with it, but he does. He just not a big swinger of the ball, but he just gets that nip. But it's a length he keeps bowling at that pace. He's very, very difficult.
Yeah. And I suppose later on, I'm watching you batting, and there's a short leg. There's two men out, and they're bombing you around those ribs. I mean, how can you play that when you've got two out for the hook and you've got a short leg? That's not easy, is it?
I actually so just before that period, when I played county cricket, I never ever felt like there was an issue with the short ball, and I got out a couple of times against India with a short ball. It was a ball before lunch at Lord's where I was in 2 miles. Like, we were playing for the draw, and I didn't want to take it on, and I got caught in 2 miles, got out, and then India, like I said, in Test cricket, they keep coming at you with the same. And then I found myself every Test match I'm playing against every opposition coming in at number 6, 7, short leg, 2 men back, leg gully kind of thing. And
here we go. Yeah.
And that is very difficult for any batter to first go in and the guys got the tails. It's not like they're warming up. No. They've already got somebody else just for you before you came in. So I found that period very difficult, and I had to change my technique. I went with a higher back lift. I had to try and lean forward and all that kind of stuff, which you do as a cricketer. And that was a very difficult period. of batting, and then with white ball as well. Then actually white ball helped me because I got a lot of confidence just practicing the pull shot and getting under it and all that kind of stuff. And then I felt like towards the back end I wasn't too worried about that the short ball anymore, and I didn't feel like it was too fast or I couldn't play. It was I felt like my technique wasn't good enough for it.
Something scared or anything?
No, yeah, exactly right. That's why I didn't feel like I was running or that. It was more I just knew my technique wasn't good enough to deal with it, and that was what I had to work on.
Batsmen, who've been those that you've found most challenging?
Steve Smith was very challenging.
Yeah, where do you bowl to him?
Because he actually plays spin very, very well. Like, I just found whatever sort of plan I came with, he was difficult. Like he was obviously got that hunger for runs, and I knew he could take me down in different ways, and that was difficult. He can go over the top, he can go through, knock me around. Very difficult to bowl at. But Misbah al-Haq actually was very difficult to bowl at because he reverse swept me a lot, and then when I felt like he wanted to, he hit me over my head, and as a spinner I think that's the hardest, when guys sweep well and then they can hit you over your head.
Yes.
It's very hard to keep them quiet.
And I mean the reverse sweep is a bit of a killer, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're playing that well. That really does message your line, message your field.
Yeah, I mean I ended up getting him out a couple of times, but he was very difficult because he, like you said, the reverse, he was brilliant at it. It wasn't like some guys reverse and I know they're not sure about it, so then you can set a kind of fit, but he was brilliant at it. Like yes. And then when I blocked the reverse and the sweep, he went over my head, and
Bang.
that is very difficult.
Mary in Durham, hello Mary, says, I was interested to hear about your relationship with Brendan McCullum. What is it about him that makes him so good to work with? I was listening to this yesterday actually in the car. It was interesting.
He's very I got to know him in India, playing in the IPL for RCB, and we just got on really well straight away. He is I would say he's very loyal, just very trustworthy, and all these very good characteristics that he has, and just a nice guy, like good fun, likes having a bit of fun, and great to talk to about the game and other things in life.
He doesn't strike me as being a sort of coach who just peers into a laptop all the time.
No. He's very like one-on-one, face-to-face, loves having a good chat with you, and I just feel like he was really interested in me as a person and away from the cricket side, and then obviously we talked cricket as well, and we just got on really, really well, and we've always kept in touch here and there, with messages, but yeah, like just a really nice guy, and I enjoy that side of him.
Yeah, it seems, Mo, that this opportunity here is that because he is so respected by your generation of cricketer, he's all playing now, but it's not as though he's been involved in English cricket, so he's too close to you all. You can respect him for what he's done, but there's often that bit of a gap, isn't there, between a player coming back as a coach if he knows everybody so well.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really exist so much. I know you've played against him with him in the IPL, but
and you kind of like sometimes when you spend so much time with someone, they will end up letting their guard down, and you probably see their insecurity. But I feel like he's such a genuine person that there's even his insecurities, whatever it is, it's there anyway, and he's very open, and as a player, like you say, in our generation coming up, we were amazed by the way he played.
Yes.
Right or wrong, whatever, people have their opinions, but it was just amazing that he was able to do that on such a stage, fearless kind of batting, and still managed to score big runs and in Test cricket and in one-day cricket and T20 cricket and stuff. So, yeah, just and then you have that respect for somebody like that, for what he's done in the game, and on top of that, being such a good guy, you kind of you respect him immensely.
He's got a harsh side to him, though. I've been watching what he's been doing to Phil Tufnell in New Zealand, chucking him off the Auckland Tower, 15,000 feet parachute. He's got a hard side to him.
I know, but I've heard that he doesn't like doing that stuff himself.
So, I mean, again, I was driving down listening yesterday. I mean, given that you have this relationship with him, I mean, do you think there's a chance for you to come back and play Test cricket with him? I mean, with the fact that he's the coach, and you've got Ben Stokes as captain, I mean, does that change things for you?
It does, yeah. I mean, he is somebody, and Stokesy is somebody, the type of characters they are, that I think you would love to play. I think anybody would love to play for, first
Yes.
of all, even guys who've probably been retired a very long time.
Don't look at me like that.
But they do have, there is something about them. It is exciting, first of all. I think when in 2015, when we, after the World Cup, we changed the whole thing. It was great to be part of that sort of cycle of change and what you can do to make that change. And whether it happens or not, yeah, I mean, I've spoken to Baz a few times and stuff. And I get obviously asked a lot, but I don't want to disrespect Leachy or whoever, Parky and these guys, because they're there now and playing, and I wish them all the best. But I did say to Baz, look, if there's ever injuries and you needed somebody, or you feel like you needed me, then of course give me a call and I'll come and play.
Yeah. But so what's stopping you playing at the moment then?
So at the moment, obviously, I'm not in the side, and I did retire end of last season. That's it. Really.
Why did you do that? You just kind of wanted to draw a line.
Yeah, and to be honest, I wasn't enjoying when I came back to the test side and I played that summer. I just didn't enjoy the way we were playing. We were losing, obviously, a lot of games and all that kind of stuff. And I felt like maybe I was part of that, and the team needed a bit of a change, or I just didn't. I didn't feel like I was getting to that zone of playing Test cricket, and maybe it's because I've been out for a while. And if I come back, and I don't think I'll feel that under this new change.
They'd welcome you back with open arms, wouldn't they? They'd love to have you back.
Yeah, maybe, but you got to respect the game, respect what's going on, and the change room right now with the guys in there, the guys who are there and playing right now. For someone like Leachy and Parky, who, in my opinion, they deserve to get given a run and play. They should, and I don't want to disrespect that. That's my biggest thing. Like, I get asked obviously quite often now, and it has changed, but I also want to let them guys play. I spoke to Baz actually this morning, Brendan this morning, and we spoke about possibly in the winter and stuff like that, with going to Pakistan, for instance. So yeah, we'll see.
So you're officially unretired yet?
So the door is open, yeah.
So that's official unretired?
Yeah.
Good lad. Well, that's good news. I think people are really pleased to hear that. Well done, brilliant. Duncan in Kidderminster, however.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Moeen and Worcestershire fan. I'm concerned to read reports suggesting that Yorkshire may be interested in signing you. What are you going to say about that?
Yeah, obviously it's my last year at Worcester, with the contract and stuff. And we're talking. I'm talking to them. I'm talking to other counties, etc. So we'll see. I mean, I do love playing for Worcester. I've been there for, I think, 14, 15 years now. Moved from Warwickshire from earlier then, and obviously helped me develop my game, play for England and all that kind of stuff. And but it is early in the season still for me, and it's not things I think too much about going forward. So when the time comes, I'll make a decision probably.
Going back to where you were with the role model side, do you think you've got a role to play at Yorkshire, given what's been going on there recently? Would that be any part of your decision at all?
No, I don't know. That wouldn't know. If I did ever leave and go to Yorkshire, I wouldn't want it to be for them kind of reasons. I think Yorkshire are doing a good job, and they will continue to do that. I don't think they need to sign me to make it a publicity stunt almost. I think you got to be. I'll go for cricketing reasons, and if I ever left, it would be for them kind of reasons, not for them reasons. So.
Yeah. Sam in Shropshire, there's been a lot of debate about the future of Test cricket. If someone gave you the option of only playing in one format, would it be Test cricket, ODI 50 over cricket, T20 cricket, or even the 100? What would you choose? What do you prefer? What really zings you up?
I'm not. This is genuinely the truth. If I was good, in terms of if I was a Joe Root and I did because Test cricket is the hardest by a mile, and I don't care what anybody says. But if I was someone like Joe Root or Ben Stokes who do well in Test cricket consistently, and I would be, of course, Test cricket, because I would enjoy it more. Because there's no, I'm sure there's stress and stuff and that challenge, but I just felt like I had great days in Test cricket, but I also had a lot of bad days in Test cricket, and that was difficult to deal with. When I say great days, I mean I scored a few runs, I took wickets,
winning games, yes.
Tried to win games, and they were amazing. That felt the best, and you don't get that feeling in any other form of the game. But the shorter format is a little bit easier in terms of that. It's still hard. But that intense, that sort of focus on your game is not there, and you can relax a little bit more. And I think it's easier for me in terms of the way I play the game to play the shorter format. But answering your question, Test cricket is Test cricket is by far the best to play.
Do you notice, because your age and the time span that you've been in the game, that there is a change at all from the youngsters coming in, that actually they're more motivated to play white ball cricket rather than Test cricket? I mean, can you actually sort of sense that? Yeah,
definitely sense that. I think there is, and I think it's just the hype around the white ball game. There's so much franchise cricket around there. There's so much money to be made in franchise cricket. So yeah, I think there is a shift of focus. But I also think it's going to change again now. I think in particular with the domestic wickets changing this year and getting flatter, I think there will be a shift, and there is a niche for Test players.
Yes,
out there, there's plenty of white ball players. There's plenty of guys who can hit the ball a long way and stuff. But I think there is a niche in the market for it. If I was a young batter coming through now, I'd be thinking, well, Test cricket is the way, because if I'm going to play for England, I've probably got more chance of playing Test cricket.
And do you think for the youngsters coming in that you've dealt with, Mo, that there is still that real hunger to play for England, or is that now diminishing a bit because people think, well, I could get a nice franchise job all around the world, I could be a nice franchise cricketer for the next 10, 15 years, and I'll set myself up, and that's actually what I'm going to aim to do?
I think if there is, my advice would be, like, I'm now playing a lot more franchise cricket than before. There's nothing like playing for England. There honestly is. In international cricket, you can play. I'm sitting in the hotels playing franchise cricket thinking, this is nowhere near as good as playing for England.
Following the Test scores.
Yeah, of course. And when I say playing for England, is in any format, either Test matches, T20s or 50 overs. There is nothing better than that. So that franchise is good and the money is good and stuff, but playing international cricket is the ultimate, and it is the best.
And that would be your advice. Any youngster came up to you?
I said no. Play for England as much, because then what happens when, like in my cases, I played for England for quite a few years. Now I play franchise cricket, and I think that is the way to go, not the other way. Not so much franchise cricket unless it gets you to England or international cricket, but don't focus on the international stuff.
You played the T10, haven't you? Well, that must be pretty frantic. I watched a bit on the telly.
That is it is an amazing format of the game, honestly. We play, I think there's 3 games a night. Nobody watches, nobody cares, but there's sixes everywhere, and there's spinners got no chance, basically.
How do you bowl in that?
I don't bowl. I'm captain, I don't bowl myself at all.
That's a really good thing. Jake, what one piece of wisdom have you picked up in your career that you'd pass on to your younger self? So young Mo appears. I presume he means cricketing wisdom. Yeah. I don't know. Or maybe in life you can expand it if you like. Become philosophical.
Yeah, I think if I was to say in cricketing terms first, I would say there are a lot more bad days than good days in cricket, but the bad days are not as bad as I think they are. So there's more going around in the world. There's more going on. Don't worry about the actual game as much, and as long as you work hard and you're focused, you'll be fine. Yes. I think there was times where I would let things get to me during the game or after the game, where now I look back and think, actually, it wasn't that much of a big deal at the time, but I made it a big deal, and that happens in cricket a lot, I think.
It's very psychological, isn't it? I mean, you've talked a bit about more psychological bits, like Nathan Lyon and so on. I mean, how do you get it? So much is in the head, isn't it?
Yeah.
How part of being a successful cricketer at this level must be the ability to kind of... I mean, look at Stuart Broad, his pub's burnt down.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that he was really close to.
Yeah.
And he's got to come out here and play a test match. I mean, he hasn't been out to see it. It's only 5 miles away. He told us that I'm not going to see it until the game's over because I will be affected by it. But then again, all this stuff going on in the mind.
And what happens sometimes when something is that bad, for Stuart, for example, I'm sure being on the field is probably the best thing for him, because it takes his mind away from that. Although he won't be as focused and he'll be hurt by what's happened, I always find coming to a game and playing for England or playing in an international venue, you kind of takes you away from what's happening in life, and you're like, right, this is me at my safest, at my best, at my ultimate. This is what I trained all my life to do, and it just takes you away from all that sort of negativity, away from what's happening around the world.
Yeah. And how dependent are you on your teammates as well to know when you're in that sort of mood where you're thinking, okay, someone comes along and says, come on, Moeen.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Yeah.
And that happened often. I didn't get down a lot, and I wouldn't show it too much when it come to cricket. But when other players were down, I feel like I was often one of the guys who would go to them and try and lift them and say, no, everything's okay, kind of thing. And I think that was my probably biggest strength in the changing room, is as much as I loved having fun and cracking a few jokes and things like that, I really say I cared for the players, and I would try and lift people who are down about either their game or something else is going on, and spend time with people and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. John Hobden, what do we do to ensure our domestic cricket system continues to produce test match quality spin bowlers? Is there any... Can you wave a magic wand?
I think with the wickets getting better, you will have more spinners will have to bowl. Proper spinners will have to bowl, and not like your guys who bat and then roll a few overs out. When you have a good wickets, you'll end up producing better spinners as the season goes on. Maybe potentially change when the timings of when you play 4-day cricket, because then if you want you want the wickets to be at the best. So when obviously June, July, August, you probably want to play more championship cricket.
Should be playing red ball cricket then, shouldn't they?
I think so, yeah. I think for spinners, batters to bat long, spinners to bowl long spells is crucial. I think seam bowlers will always be good. Fast bowlers will always be decent. But they're the two areas that we as a country need to work on.
Neil Matthews, for England, do you class yourself as a batsman who bowls, an all-rounder, or a bowler who bats?
Depends on who was captain. As Cookie's right next to me.
I know, be careful there.
No, no. I came in the side as a batsman who bowled a little bit, because I hardly bowled, and then that was quick. And then, I ended up being a spinner who batted 8, which I didn't mind at all, because I was in the team, and as long as I was playing, I was actually fine with it, honestly.
Stuck with the tail a bit though.
Yeah, that was the only thing. The only thing was you didn't feel like you could score a big innings or play, but you kind of have to shift. And initially it was actually good, because I did quite well, and then after, when you don't score a couple of games, you're like, I just wish I could have a bit of time in the middle and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, in the end I ended up being more of a spinner, I think, than a batter, which was fine, because like I said, ended up playing 60-odd test matches, which was a lot more than I ever thought I was going to.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, you've been virtually everywhere, haven't you? Up to number 3. I mean, how did you feel about that at the time?
I think when I was 3 at the time, I was playing well. I just did well in county cricket batting 3, and Ruti, I think, was struggling a little bit, and he asked me if I wanted to bat 3. I ended up batting 3. I batted a couple of games, I think. I was in 2-3 games. Cookie's last game I was 3, and 1 after that, and then back to number 8.
Yeah, that comes more or less from David Riches, who's sitting on a beach in Croatia. I hope you're having a lovely holiday, David. Hope you can get back. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. Tony, have you managed to see your beloved Liverpool? Oh, you're a Liverpool man, are you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have you been?
I have been. I was at the final, the Champions League final, which was honestly, if that was my first ever game, I wouldn't go to a football game again. It was a real bad experience. Yes. But luckily we were fine. We had a good team. Yeah. Well, I think it was almost it was impossible to get away with it. Honestly, anyone away from it. We were just lucky we wasn't right in the middle of it. Yeah, it was very difficult actually.
Could you sense it?
From the moment we got there, it just felt. We did 2 nights there, one before the game, one the night of the game, and I just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah. You're such a calm man, though. I wonder what it is about football that football crowds as well. You seem to be a complete antithesis, really.
Yeah, no, I enjoy watching the football. I'd prefer to watch on TV actually, because you end up getting all the analysis and the replays, etc. But it is nice to experience the live games and watch Liverpool play.
Well, I've seen you playing before. It was banned by England. You were quite nifty on the outfield, weren't you?
I was okay. I was all right.
No, you were okay.
Probably top goal scorer.
Cook shaking his head. No, I've seen it. And boxing as well. Is that right? Or is that a complete...
No, that's not me.
Well, I think we've got a duff question from Helen on social media.
I've got a good...
Like boxing?
I've got a right hook on me, yeah.
Yeah, but you follow boxing?
A tiny bit. Not as much as someone like Adil Rashid and these guys. They follow it quite... I'm not a big follower of boxing. No.
Okay. Were you a big trainer? Are you a big runner and trainer? Cookie's laughing now. I thought I'd better ask that question.
I trained in terms of batting and bowling quite a lot.
Right.
And I did my batting and my bowling and my field. I wasn't a massive gym guy or a long distance sort of running. I did a few sprints here and there. But no, I was more concentrated on my batting and bowling.
All right, Mo. Look, it's lovely to thank you. We answered so many questions there. That's really great.
Well, thank you for having me.
They're all right. Awesome. Do they leave? They fairly light.
Good questions. Yeah, I was got away with that one.